Parliament has been told that the Corrupt Practices Investigation Bureau delayed the disclosure of Transport Minister S Iswaran's arrest so they could establish more facts and hear his side of the story first. Minister in charge of the Public Service, Chun Sing, was responding to questions about how the government handles investigations into its own public offices and the process and protocols in place for whistleblowers. Lauren Ong reports.
It was 12 July when the news first broke. The Transport Minister S Iswaran was assisting in a CPIB probe. But it was only days later that the Bureau announced he had been arrested. The timeline of events and the circumstance around which information was released came into question in Parliament. A minister in charge of the Public Service, Chun Sing, says what to reveal around ongoing investigations is a call for the Bureau to make.
What law enforcement agencies, including CPIB, review at any point in time takes into account their operational considerations in the cases they deal with, including preserving the integrity of evidence, protecting the confidentiality of ongoing investigations, and avoiding impact on other related parties. This is why the Prime Minister's initial statement and Deputy Prime Minister's doorstop interview on 12 July took reference from CPIB's press release on the same day. This was the proper thing to do because ministers, including the Prime Minister, should not reveal more than what the law enforcement agencies are prepared to disclose.
As this case involved a cabinet minister, the Bureau departed from normal practice and named Mr. Iswaran. It also sought the Prime Minister's concurrence to conduct formal investigations. As to MPs' questions about why Mr. Iswaran was put on leave while under investigation, while two other ministers involved in recent Redar Road cases were not. Mr. Chan says there's a crucial difference between the two investigations.
For the Redar Bungalow matter, the two ministers had asked the Prime Minister for an independent investigation into their rental of SLA black and white bungalows, and the Prime Minister had tasked CPIB to do the investigation. The Prime Minister had no reason to believe that the ministers had committed any wrongdoing then, and therefore saw no need to put them on leave of absence during the investigation. For the case involving Minister Iswaran, CPIB came across some information concerning him while investigating a separate matter. It then decided it should look further into the matter. In these circumstances, Prime Minister's assessment was that it was necessary to suspend Minister Iswaran from his official duties while the investigation took place.
Mr. Chan says public sector cases form a small portion of what CPIB investigates each year. Last year, 4 public service officers were prosecuted in court. Anonymous sources accounted for 16% of the 83 cases registered last year. He says there are codes of conduct public officers must abide by and processes on how to handle or report suspicious requests.
Should an officer be unsure of a request because it seems inappropriate or unrelated to official work, he should consult and seek guidance from his supervisor. If the request comes from his supervisors or a more senior officer, the officer can escalate the matter appropriately through the chain of command, including directly to his permanent secretary, the head of agency, the head of civil service, or the minister in charge of the public service.
Mr. Chan says the civil service has an internal disclosure policy for officers to report wrongful practices to their permanent secretaries. As for accepting gifts and meals related to their work or position, there are protocols for political office holders to return, surrender, or pay for the items received.